Hey gang, it's your old buddy Platt, and today we're continuing on our spirit series. We're going to talk about probably the most popular spirit in the world, definitely the highest selling one here in the US, and that is vodka. Vodka basically is just a clear distilled spirit mainly made from water and ethanol. We're not talking in this video about flavored vodkas, that's a different animal, and we're going to do a separate video on that, but just we're talking about just straight vodka, and again it's mainly water and ethanol. Primarily comes from grain or potato. A lot of people believe that potato was the original source. That's up for debate. But technically, especially here in the US, the TTB says it could come from anything. If you've ever had Ciroc vodka, it comes from grapes. So it's just a clean distilled spirit, comes from any fermentable that you can get your hands a hold of. In Poland, they use the term Wodka, W-O-D-K-A. In Russia, it's vodka with a V. They both claim that they are the home or the originators of vodka. That's again up for debate. Not enough evidence either way to sway it, but it is close. Vodka originally, or I guess the origins of vodka, were a fermented beverage. That was probably something like an unhopped beer, may have had some kind of other flavorings and stuff, was used for medicinal purposes like a lot of the original alcoholic beverages were. What happened in Eastern Europe and Russia, the next step was that because of the cold weather, the extreme cold up there, they began playing around with freeze distillation. In a earlier video I did a long time ago, I did about making Applejack. That was something here in the US where you basically took hard cider, would start to freeze it, pull the ice out every once in a while, and what that did is water freezes before alcohol does, so you could freeze that water, pull it out, and now you got something a little more concentrated, a little more higher alcohol by volume. So they would take their, again, some kind of variation of beer that they refer to as vodka, and then they would freeze distill it. They would take something that started out between 8 and 10% alcohol by volume, and next thing you know, they're in the high teens, then they're in the mid-20s, and they've got a different product then with quite a bit of a kick. Eventually, though, regular distillation and that technology made its way to Eastern Europe and Russia, and we got something that more closely looks like the vodka we have today. The first written mention of vodka in Poland came in 1405 in actual court documents. So a lot of people in Poland might be saying, yes, I told you we were first. However, in 1386, the first distilled spirits made it to Russia. And I'm sure people in Russia are like, I told you. However, what got to Russia at the time most likely was like an aquavitae or an unaged brandy, or referred to as a Brandis wine. And that's probably the first things, when that technology made it to Russia, probably the first things that got distilled. I mean, was someone out there somewhere distilling something from grain or potatoes? Who knows? But there's not a lot of evidence for that. So again, it's kind of a toss-up. Now, the next step that came into Russian vodka history came in 1430 when a monk named Isidore supposedly created the first Russian recipe for vodka, and he used a base of bread wine. So again, we're working with some kind of variation of an unhopped beer. But they began creating their own style in Russia, and from that point up until around the mid-1700s, what was being distilled, called vodka at the time, wasn't necessarily high proof. They were around 30-35% alcohol by volume, or 60 to 70 proof. Just because those stills back then were very rudimentary, the technology was very basic, the skill level knowledge just wasn't quite there. Eventually, though, again, we started getting newer stills, more knowledge, more excellence with the stills, coffee stills came around. So by the 1890s, the kind of modern standard came in. Eastern European accepted the standard of 80 proof for vodka, or 40% alcohol by volume. And that's still the standard today in most parts of the world, here in the United States. Now, however, in the European Union, their standard is 37.5% alcohol by volume, or 75 proof. Again, this is for straight vodka. You will see, again, flavored vodkas below the 80 proof, but that's a different category. We're just talking about straight vodka. Quickly going to talk about vodka in another part of Europe, and that is Sweden. Actually, until about the 1950s or so, that Sweden even used the term vodka. Their term for a similar product was a term called brandvin, or their version of like Brandiswine or burnt wine. That's how the Dutch referred to their version of brandy, or again an aquavite or whatever. Several times in Sweden they halted production of vodka-like substance because of grain shortages and certain issues they had. And it really wasn't until the late 70s per se when Absolut came out and kind of became the bell cow for Swedish vodka that I guess Sweden fully accepted the term vodka. Here in the U.S., many vodkas that you'll taste are basically from neutral grain spirits. If you saw the neutral grain spirit video, we talked about how these bulk ethanol producers would sell excess product to people who wanted to create vodkas, and they would just cut it with distilled water down to 80 proof, slap a label on it, and voila, you got vodka. And that makes sense because one of the main selling points, quality points for vodka is its purity. According to the TTB, vodka is supposed to be odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Now, it's not 100% tasteless, but a good, clean vodka doesn't have a lot of taste, and it's that quality standard, the cleanliness of vodka, that makes it stand out. Well, again, if you're producing commercial ethanol for something that goes into the car, it better be pretty pure, and so that works with vodka too. Again, as long as you're adding distilled water, which is pure water as you can have, it kind of works out. It just makes sense. I mean, people still do distill vodka, whatever, don't get me wrong, but a lot of your vodkas on the shelf, especially kind of off-brand stuff like that, neutral grain spirit. One of the reasons why vodka is probably the most popular, most sold spirit here in the U.S., and again so popular worldwide, is it is the backbone to a lot of cocktails. Bloody Marys, Moscow Mules, screwdrivers, martinis. And what makes it so loved by the mixologist and the bartender is if you're creating a drink and you've got a flavor profile in mind, but you need, all right, what's a cocktail? It's supposed to have alcohol. Well, you could take vodka, and it's a blank slate, it's a blank canvas, and you can work around it. All right, we've got our alcohol in the drink. Now we can add some unique homemade bitters or some exotic fruit juice, or I've made this great cocktail syrup, or a complimentary liqueur, something like a Saint Germain or an Amaretto or what have you. It just gives the mixologist something to work with. The particular vodka we're going to try today is Tito's Handmade Vodka, 80 proof. Comes to us from Austin, Texas. I can say I've had the pleasure of meeting Tito himself. His real name is actually Tito Beverage. Can't make that up. I encourage you to go to the Tito's website, check out his story, because it's absolutely great. Really cool guy. I've had drinks with him a couple times. And again, his backstory, how he started Tito's. Tito's is the first distillery in the state of Texas, and just the regulatory fight he had to go to alcohol production is highly regulated, and he had to really kind of coach up the legislature there to get him fully regulated, and also just how he has built the brand as big as it is today. It's really a great story. One of the key selling points to Tito's is it's 100% corn, and that makes it gluten-free. And obviously, people's concern about gluten intolerance, what have you, has become big, so certified gluten-free. All right, let's give her a try. Just a little bit. That is clean. The first thing I noticed is you get a little punch at the front of your tongue. And that is because, like I said, it's distilled from corn. I've been fortunate enough to been to several distilleries and tried corn whiskey and other things. And if you ever try anything distilled from corn, you notice there's kind of a sweetness to it, more than if you ever try a rye or anything distilled from rye. And a good example is if I had Stoli vodka. Stoli vodka's a rye vodka. Rye tends to have a little more of a spice bite to it. This Tito's has a little sweetness to it. Again, not in a big way. It's still pure alcohol. It's still a little heat there, but you'll just get a slight punch in the tongue from that corn sweetness. And I believe in an earlier video, I did a video back where I actually took some Tito's because it was corn-based and I aged it. And we got a little the corn whiskey kind of vibe to it. You know, obviously we got the flavoring out of the wood, but like I said, the corn base kind of makes it a little unique. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe down below. Also, please like the videos because it lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. Any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Till next time, bottoms up.